Hey guys, welcome to Choppa History today, sponsored by Indian Motorcycles and Law Tigers. Big shout out to both of them for sponsoring Choppa History so that we can keep giving you guys these videos and interviews and everything above. I want to mention a couple of things. We are leaving next Friday for the High Seas Rally, which is October 29th to November 5th. It's the only biker cruise. We're really excited. So we're going to try to do a lot of live stuff from there. We will definitely have our show live on Thursday for that, as well as next Thursday, we're going to have somebody from the cruise. So we'll talk more about the cruise. What would it be like without your phone ringing?
Yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Vintage Pros. That's the clear and the primers, everything we're using now. Great stuff. Vintage Pros. You can reach out. You can go on the internet and order it through there. But that's what we've been using on our paint jobs, and the stuff's working out great. We're happy with it.
Yeah, and also I know I mentioned this last week, but our good buddy Don Mulaney had his motorcycle stolen, trailer and motorcycle, in South Carolina. So if by chance anybody did see this motorcycle, please get a hold of us. It's a dirty tail, black soft tail, as you can see. Figured what the heck, more people that know about it, the better. Today's show, so let's just get right to it. Hold on one second. We have Dan and Joe. How's it going, guys? We gotta move.
No. Good. Oh, I gotta come this way. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You guys
come on, get together, guys.
How's it going, guys?
We're good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I liked that little skit, which I hate that Instagram uses like algorithms, because I don't see your stuff enough. And so I missed the little skit that you guys did for Sons of Speed. Where Joe, you came out with a nitrous bottle.
I never saw that.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up with that?
On my other hand, I had a supercharger.
I was wondering what that was. And so Dave was sitting on his Sons of Speed bike and promoting Sons of Speed. And then Joe came out like he didn't know that they were filming and said, "Hey, where should we mount this?" And he had a nitrous bottle. And so he was like, oh, I didn't know we were filming. That was a good little skit.
We got to make everything kind of fun. You know, can't be uptight all the time.
Yeah, we can't be uptight anytime.
Exactly. I like the way you think.
Yeah. So, Dan, tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay. So right now, currently, we design and manufacture motorcycle exhausts. We do everything in-house: mandrel bending, 3D printing, CNC machining, powder coating, all that stuff. We started off doing sport bike stuff, wide tire kits, which evolved to doing the exhaust on sport bikes. And then I build a bunch of stuff here and there that's for us to screw around on. And it also gives you it makes you think outside the box. So, we come to the business trying to not do what everybody else is doing. So we look at exhaust and stuff like that from a perspective of what's wrong with the exhausts that are out there now. And then we start right off the bat improving them and going from there. So that's kind of what we do.
More about performance and sound, so to speak?
It's a balance. It's I think we have a lot of it dialed in to where we have certain size baffles that are our design, and we'll design an exhaust, come pretty close, dyno tune it, and make a couple tweaks, and then work from there for sound. And then now us doing sport bike stuff, it wasn't as important to have heat shields and that kind of stuff. Whereas now doing the V-twin bikes, heat shields are very important. And come to find out, they're harder to build than an exhaust. Me and Dave talked about this at one point.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. So are you making a line of V-twin exhausts now?
We've been doing, say, the Indian FTR. We've been doing that for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And we're preparing to launch everything. So
Okay.
we teamed up with Steve Broyles from Stevenson, and
Yeah.
you know, he emptied up. He got us the Harley Pan America and the Harley Sportster. So
Yeah.
both of those are pretty much, the development's done. We're fine tuning the shields. The Pan America's already been to market and it's selling and doing really well. But now
So
we're finally.
How would
What's that?
if somebody wanted an exhaust for Pan America, one of your exhausts, how would they get it?
You'd go to Stevenson Cycle. That's exclusive through him.
Oh, okay.
That's the way our deal and our agreement. That's the way we do it. So we
Yeah.
manufacture here and we drop ship from here.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily stock everything at this point.
So
Right.
the Pan America and the new Sportster, both those have that same Rev Max motor.
Yes. Yep.
So you're making it for the Rev Max?
Yeah. And
Oh,
we had a lot of good dyno results just with a bolt-on exhaust before even doing any tuning. Because when we started this project, there wasn't any way to tune them. You couldn't crack the Harley computers, and Power Vision wasn't available for them at that time. So
yeah. Have you ridden the Pan America?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we
were drag racing them in Sturgis.
Yeah, we went to Burt Baker's drag and had it out with the Pan America, the FTR, the Sportster. If it had wheels and we could get it to the drag strip, we beat it up.
Yeah.
Which is what we do everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Which were you guys at the smokeout?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they were at the
That's
smokeout.
so it was. So do you send me? There was a picture. I think I don't know that I uploaded it, or maybe I saw it on your Instagram. Of the running in the dirt.
Yeah.
That's
So Joey.
cool.
Yeah, Joey took his big wheel chopper and just beat the hell out of everybody.
You were killing it, Joe.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, the smokeout was awesome. We had a great time, but I'll tell you, we never laughed so hard watching those drags.
Yeah.
The dirt drag was something. Joe was going back and forth. I mean, how many times did you run?
As many times as I have left.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know,
great show.
And of course, like usual, it came down to me and Jake in the final because he was the only one that could,
no way!
on a borrowed bike. Yeah.
he beat me once on a borrowed bike, and in the final,
Oh man! So who
in the
won?
final, I did. Of course, come on.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Jake's your teammate or past teammate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ex-teammate.
Yeah. Joe, what's your bike look like after all that was done?
The same way it still looks.
Yeah. Boy, it must have been a mess.
Yeah,
It was painted black, but now it's all
Joe,
brown.
Is this? I'm assuming this is you.
Nope.
What do you? Oh, who is that? You, Dan?
No, that's one of our exhausts on I think that's, I can't tell who that is, but we sponsor a few guys, we help them out, and
Yeah.
and they're they're hooligan and everything else with our FTR stuff.
Yeah,
So-
that's cool. So I see the is that a Challenger in the background there?
Yes,
Yep.
it is. Yep.
Yeah, that's my kind of bike.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing to that? You building an exhaust for it?
So yeah, we have a slip-on that is pretty much ready for market. We'll give them to a few people, almost like ambassador type of people, and let them put some miles on them and make sure that we're really ready to launch it. And that's had the slip-on with, and it eliminates the left side pipe, so it has a bag support because the Challengers use the pipes as bag supports. So it has that, but we just developed a full system for it. And I'm not sure if you guys know Ride Fish. He's one of the Indian ambassadors. That first full system is going on his bike after we were done testing it here. And it'll run like a Lloyd's tune or something like that. But we're ready to launch it. We're a week or two away.
The Challenger needs more aftermarket stuff.
Yeah.
I think Basani's the only one with a full exhaust for it, correct?
For now.
Yeah. I think there's yeah. once again, it's the shields is the holdup because we bought all the equipment. We were going to start doing carbon fiber to be able to do super light shields and stay with the performance. That's what we're kind of built on. So to keep the performance, we wanted to use carbon fiber and super light stuff, but setting up to manufacture was kind of slow, and the demand is there. And, with exhaust, you've got to be like the first guy out, or you've got to be early on to have a foothold in the market. So, we're starting to do them, our conventional way with tubing that's sliced up, and we'll eventually do carbon fiber as an option. But as of now, we're going to launch them with steel shields or stainless steel shields. So.
That's cool. That's good. Like I said, the Challenger needs more. It's such a great bike to begin with, and
it really is.
Modifications. I mean, they kind of blow Harley out of the water just stock.
Yeah, these M8s are coming along though. They're starting to make power, and
so
we have a couple of those out there. Didn't you get the tune in Sturgis last year? I think on your Challenger.
The Lloyd's tune, I got it in Daytona, so I was the guinea pig.
Yeah,
I got it a couple years. I got it like right when I got my bike. And then they retuned it again this year in Sturgis.
Okay.
Like because they updated the tune for it. I don't have anything negative to say. And I mean, I have 20,000 miles on my bike, so it's it's not like I don't ride it.
Wait till you get your Toce exhaust.
What was that?
Wait till you get your Toce exhaust, then you're really gonna love it.
Well, I actually want to sell my Challenger and buy a new one. Because I got some new ideas like for paint, and rather than taking that apart and repainting it, I want to move on. So I'm hoping like this winter I'd like to sell it and have a new one by the spring, by the summertime. So I'll need an exhaust.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
which
we'll
I have. Yeah, I mean Reinhardt's built me an exhaust for it, which I love. I mean, I love those guys from Reinhardt's. But they won't make a full exhaust for them. Like they only a mufflers. They don't have the market, and they're so in with Harley that it's kind of they're not really into Indians. So I'm pushing their product, but only to a point because it's like, oh, I love your exhaust. Sorry, you can't get it.
Right.
But so let's talk Sons of Speed. So you guys it's kind of cool that you're sport bike guys in the antique, Sons of Speed world. What made you guys get into Sons of Speed?
I think I actually I ran into Billy at Bill Dodge's industry party in Daytona, like the first year. And he said, we ran into each other over the years. I knew him from way back when. And he mentioned, would you be interested in sponsoring it or any part of that? And I think that was the year that it was the first hurricane where it was rained out. I think that was the year. For some reason, they didn't have the race. And I talked to him, and I felt bad. I'm like, man, he's got a lot into this. And, to have it not happen, very disappointing. So rather than sponsor, I said, I would rather race. So at that point, he was behind the Iron Horse was his shop. So I went over there and we started looking at motors, and he said, boy, it really makes sense for you to have an Indian motor, run an Indian bike. I don't know if it's because they were slower or, well, us being from, Hartford, Connecticut, we were close to where Indians were from in Springfield. And my grandfather, one of my companies is a plating shop that my grandfather owned. It was Hartford Chrome then. And they did all the plating for the original Indians back in the day. And so I own that company now, and it was kind of all interconnected. And I said, you know what, I will run an Indian. And, no one knew then what was going to be that much faster than the other or any of that stuff.
Yeah, because the original bike that I was riding was an Indian. That's what I won on.
Right. Yeah. And
slowest that can be, that's the thing with Sons of Speed is if you're consistent, you could beat the faster bikes. If you can do those corners, without letting off the throttle, then you got a chance.
Well, Joe, you know
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, when Joe and eBay are out there, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But
Right.
most part with the board track bikes, you can't let off that throttle because there's just not enough
Yeah,
horsepower.
because you can't accelerate. Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
accelerate.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the racing is great. All of it's great. Practice day is great. It's just seeing you guys and seeing all the people involved. I mean,
True.
it's competitive. It's competitive, but it's just like a big party, kind of. You know what I mean?
Fun.
Right, with motorcycles, which is the way I like my parties.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a great time. We look forward to it for the camaraderie of it all. You know what I mean? We've all made new friends through Sons of Speed.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it's been a great catalyst for motorcycle industry.
Yep.
So Joe, you race in the 45 class, right?
The Hot 45 class.
All right. So tell us about your bike.
We built the bike up here, or the chassis up in Connecticut, and we kind of based it off of a sport bike, obviously, all the same geometry kind of. And Steve Broyles built the motor in Wayne, Michigan, right outside of Detroit. And then the first race I raced in was March of 2020, I think, right? I think it was March of 2020. And we got to Daytona, I think, 2 days before the race. And that was the first time the motor was put in that chassis. And
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we had to cut some things and, squeeze things together. But it was a complete, that was my first time ever on a circle track or an oval track, let alone a bank or even on pavement. I rode dirt and like dirt bikes and whatnot growing up, but I never actually raced on a racetrack. But so that was basically our first time ever on the track, for me at least, and it was a big eye opener to see what we were capable of, and it was kind of cool. We got to test out. We found out a lot of things that first race. I was dragging my clutch basket on every turn, and I could only turn so much. And so the next year we came back with the transmission lifted about 3 inches, and then I was hitting my foot pegs, so we raised those up even higher, and then we needed more power. So now we're slowly but surely, I think we finally got it pretty dialed in for now.
We're running out of excuses. How about that?
Yeah, right. Now you got to start winning.
Yeah.
You're like right there. I mean, for some of you, to be honest, I thought you had racing history because, I mean, you're a good rider out there. And it's like everybody's watching. You and eBay are the two to watch. So, I mean, good for you for never being on a circle track before.
No, I mean, like I said, I mean, the day I got my bike, I think I dropped it off at the shop. The next morning, I picked it up with an exhaust on it. And that day, I taught myself how to do 80-mile-an-hour wheelies, and then I just kind of
fall over? Did you fall over?
on wood now. Not on that bike. Not on that bike. No, I never. I had somebody that crashed that bike, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But
it's
it was
cool.
definitely really cool.
It's cool that you guys are sport bike guys,
Yeah.
and coming over not only into the V-twin side, but also into the antique bike racing.
Yep.
Because you guys, I mean, to be honest, I don't have a clue about sport bikes, but I mean, they have some serious torque. So you're going from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a drastic change.
Yeah, it was kind of. I was expecting when I first rode the 45. I was kind of expecting it to be like a Harley. Like I've ridden Harleys before, so like I had them, whatever. And I got on that thing, and it was just this is a momentum game now. Like as soon as you get up to speed, you just got to kind of hold it there. That's it. It didn't have the power that we were expecting whatsoever.
Yeah, they're slow moving, but once they get up to speed, that's what I mean by like you got to be able to hang the corners. That's where it determines the people that want to win and the people that are just out there to ride.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, do you guys have any idea how much horsepower that little 45 makes?
Yeah, good question.
We really don't. We never. Steve has a dyno, and we have one, and we think they're in the like 45 horsepower range.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was gonna say
yeah.
high
Yeah.
30s, low 40s.
Yeah, high 30s. Yeah, you'd have to ask
Is
the
yours
parts
WR?
guys that.
Is yours a WR?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like eBay's supposedly had like 43,
Yep.
you know, which you figure 40, even 45 horsepower is nothing. I mean,
Nope.
I have tractors now that have more than that. Like that's nothing. But in reality, though, I mean, those you guys on the hot 45s, you're still going like 75, 80 miles an hour on the.
Easily.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah,
with a
so
radar clocked me in at low 90s at one point.
that's
Yeah.
nuts. That's fast. You
Yeah.
figure on an old bike with no horsepower.
And no brakes.
And no brakes. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. I was bummed big time that it got canceled because I was really looking forward to getting out there, and I was gonna ride Tom's single. So I was coming at him with the single. But hopefully Tom will be better by March and shoulder, and he
Yeah.
can get back out there and keep his championship.
Yeah. He won in Tennessee.
Yep.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. So
Yeah.
he's got 2 wins.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. But Jason Brooks was gonna. He was who he raced against in Tennessee. He was gonna come to Daytona, which is he's from Tennessee. Yeah, and he's a competitive guy. He's a rider.
Yeah.
It'll make it fun to watch. And if the more guys that are involved, the better it is, or the more people.
I
How about
agree.
that?
Yeah, and we also need spectators too. The spectators got to come out for it and support it because that's what keeps it going.
Yeah, I mean, we bring a whole bus full of spectators just in our pit.
Yeah, no, and as we do too, and we've gotten more and more of the hamsters involved. So now there's a big group of yellow shirts up there in the stands, and they all say, "Wow, this is really cool." And it's like if so many more people knew about it, there'd be a whole lot more people in the stands because it is a really cool deal.
Yeah. And I think this Biketoberfest would have been a good time for that venue because there wasn't a whole lot of other stuff going on. If that race was on, that would have definitely been like a draw and the place to be.
Yeah.
It's growing. It's a good thing.
There was a lot of spectators in Tennessee, like shocking amount of people.
Was there?
That's good.
When we were driving through, like we're like in the middle of nowhere looking around, like there wasn't a Walmart within like 100 miles of the racetrack. And then like once the race day finally happened, like the stands were practically filled. I was like really, really surprised.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah, that's cool.
That was sketchy though. That clay track was sketchy. Let me tell you.
Bet. Yeah, I guess they're gonna try to do it again next year. So I'd like to try to get out there on that. But Tom had said like he wasn't giving it full throttle in the practices, but then when Jason Brooks was. He was like right there. He was like, I am not going to let him win. So that's when you determine, who's the races and who's the riders.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was definitely a different situation with that thing because usually at New Smyrna, I'm racing at least in third gear and we're going like high speeds. But in Tennessee, it was a lot smaller track and we were in second gear with the same gear.
Okay.
So it's a lot smaller track, but the turns are like hairpins. It was like way tighter and but it was just a whole different experience.
Was the clay banked at all?
Yes, it had a slight. It wasn't as banked as New Smyrna, but it's definitely got a bank to it.
Yeah, I told them they got to find some more pavement tracks.
Yeah, we should have it at Stafford Speedway up here, where the swap meet is.
Yeah,
Stafford. Actually, are you guys going to the swap meet Stafford this week?
I knew that was coming.
I might be there. I'll probably be there. I know the car one was last week, so I think the motorcycle one is this week.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm going to be there. So if you come and find me.
Okay, yeah. Like last time, I ran into you and Mad Stork was there.
Yeah,
remember? Yeah.
We'll be set up. I got a whole trailer load of junk I'm trying to get rid of. So
but only junk to you, not to somebody else.
No, it's really all good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, really good used stuff.
Yeah, hoarder's delight.
Now
Yeah,
that you
right.
guys, the Holly guys and antique guys, you got to go to these swap meets.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, now it's so hard. Now the value, everybody knows what all that stuff's worth. When I first
Yeah.
did my son's speed bike, I was like, oh, I'm going to buy like 3 or 4 of these Indian motors. I'm going to scoop them up and, I'll dial it in and screw with it. And then I'm like, what? I can't find one. What? They're $7,000 with,
Yeah.
most of the parts
Yeah.
there.
It gets expensive real quick.
Yeah, it really did. And I mean, I think that's part of it. Sons of Speed and all of it, all the vintage stuff is kind of making a real comeback.
Yeah,
And it should. It's fun, and it's where it started,
Yeah.
it is fun.
Yeah. It's fun chasing that stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm constantly chasing old bikes, and man, they're hard to find. And it's basically word of mouth. I mean, you just got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
Unless you got endless money, you can pay ridiculous Miko prices.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, you've got an edge because you're an icon in the industry, and then people a lot of times will go to you, hey, this bike was yours from way back when, or did you? And you'll have those connections where if you're at my level, then I've got to search a little harder, and
Yeah. Well, I'm always looking for my old stuff, and you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find. I mean, I have people calling me all the time saying, hey, I just bought this bike, and the guy told me that you built it. And I would say probably at least 50% of them I had nothing to do with,
Yeah.
But, I'm always looking for my real old vintage, the old Digger Sportsters and that kind of stuff. And man, I don't know where they all went because I built a lot of them back in the day, a real lot, they're hiding somewhere.
Somebody's cellar.
Yeah.
So do you see this? Look at this picture, Dad.
Oh God.
That's an old one. Dan, when was this?
Holy shit.
That was at the Hartford show in probably 04 or 05. I think it was probably right after your biker build off against Billy.
Wow.
It was probably around then, if I had to guess.
Shit.
And that's when we were doing sport bike exhausts or sport bike wide tire kits. And I built that chopper because, I think I watched Motorcycle Mania, which you were on too,
Yeah.
the first one. And I'm like, I can build a frame. I can do this. And I think I bought an FXR that I'll probably get crucified for stripping and built that bike out of it. And, Denver's front end, built it the way I wanted. And, then the biker build-offs were coming out and stuff. And it was like, all right, I really want to do this. So I was building choppers for my friends, just on a small scale. Like, definitely didn't make any money doing it. And I have good friends because all my friends are like him and they just break everything.
Yeah.
So all I do is fix the stuff I made.
I think that did your exhaust? Did you make an exhaust for like an R1 that the tail section kind of goes into a V and the exhaust? So I think Corey did we get an exhaust from you? I think Corey did.
Yeah. So when Corey was with you guys, I'm gonna say it might have even been in Hartford, and you guys were set up, and that's probably the first time other than that picture where I really met you, Dave. And Corey was building sport bikes out of your place at that point, or with you. And I gave him an exhaust for that bike that he was building. And then I think shortly after that, he went on his own or he moved or something like that. But that was at that time.
Yeah, I remember that exhaust, like thinking it was on Joe Hunt.
Yeah.
On Speed Brothers bike. And it like went, it was really nice that the tips like went in a V. Like with
that was my first production sport bike exhaust, and I think at this time we've probably sold almost 10,000 units.
Wow, that's awesome.
In the busy season back then, we would sell 10 to 15 a day.
Wow.
So it was and we were a 2 or 3 man shop at that point. I was doing all the welding, had one guy doing the powder coating and the sales, and someone else doing assembly and shipping. So it was and our marketing was, we would go to Daytona with a pile of cards, bring the bikes, and go to the gas station, cut through the wood there, go to the track, turn around and do the same thing. But we would it was almost like a strategy. People wouldn't approach 5 guys on bikes. So everybody would go inside and get something to drink. And one guy would stand by the bikes, and
Let
then
them
people
come.
they would approach, and we'd start every bike. And before you know it, you're handing out cards, and we would come back and emails and phone calls for weeks. So it was guerrilla marketing at that point. And then the next year, I think me and Natalia and some of the crew went to Daytona, and we would ride around with a bunch of T-shirts in the truck at the end and drive down Main Street. And you know how Main Street would get late at night. I mean, everybody's drinking there in bars, but all the bikes are there. And we would roll up Toce shirts and put them under every bike that had our exhaust. And then you'd see it on social media the next day, holding up a shirt. Yeah, I got a shirt from these guys. And, it was like a cool way of saying thanks. And, it was a good thing.
That was a cool way of doing it.
Yeah, that's good marketing, because that's kind of our theme with Sturgis and Daytona. It's too expensive to have a booth. You have to man it. You have to pay for everything. It's just too much. So it's we go to certain things, and that's where you can find us. You can get more out of that, almost socializing and finding people versus them trying to find you, which could be a needle in a haystack.
Right. Especially when those events are spread out, like Sturgis or even more so Daytona.
Yeah. How was Daytona for you guys this year? Oktoberfest.
Yeah, we fixed the building for the first week and a half. Yeah, week
and
a half.
You get a lot of damage. Yeah, you're right close to the water, to the Intercoastal.
Yeah. We got a few inches of water in the shop. No motorcycles or anything like that were damaged. None of the lifts, but the flooring was all garbage. Some of the furniture, some of the furniture got broke moving it, and then Joe, and then the awning we had to repair.
Who buys a glass table? That's my question.
Not for a motorcycle shop.
Yeah, right.
Dan, we have a Pedro the Engraver wants to know: can Hartford Chrome Shop handle big wheels around a 30?
No, we don't do any of that. So now I only do hard chrome plating and some nickel plating. It's more like aerospace stuff now. There was a time where we were doing show chrome. My brother and I brought that part to the business, and we were doing all the wheels for Orange County Choppers. For the Row Machine was doing their wheels at the time. We would chrome them. A lot of the local builders, Audi Cycle, PT Customs, those guys, we were doing all their chrome. And then we were doing a lot of car restoration stuff. But right now, we're not doing any of that. We're doing firearm stuff like crazy.
Oh, wow.
Do you do any nickel plating?
For the firearm stuff. And then we do our baffles for the bike shop here for Toce. We do our own baffles, but it's like a semi-bright nickel.
Yeah.
It's not really like that brilliant nickel that is only missing chrome.
Yeah.
We're experimenting with a black nickel that they're coming out with an industrial version of it, and we're gonna try and use that on our bagger exhaust or our V-twin exhaust. We're doing testing now to see if it'll handle the temperature, because it's a really good coating. It stays shiny. It'll get a bluish black color, but not a disturbing kind of color like it's worn out or chalky or anything like that. It stays as a plating. So that's one more time being outside of the box and trying to bring something to the industry that's not here already. So I hope I answered the question.
I see Steve Broyles is watching. Steve, post a link to how people can buy the exhaust, because he sells the Pan America and the Sportster exhaust, right?
Yeah, the Sportster's not launched yet, but it's real close. We debuted the new Shield setup in Daytona this year, and everybody loved it. I mean, Steve lets everybody get on those bikes and rip them up and down the street, take them for a ride. So, it gets a great response. But we had Joey, and who were you? You were racing Steve. We actually put a flagman out in Beach Street, and we were having drag races with our bikes. Everybody take it. I mean, Chris Callan was there.
Chris Callan was there. He was recording, him and Heather, and I was on the FTR, and Steve was on the Sportster.
Yeah,
but it was that road is not smooth. Yeah, I mean, we've known that for years, but it won't deter us from going fast.
But you can only do it for a couple minutes, and the cops might show up. So we pack it all in.
And,
Yeah,
and then we switched to mini bikes.
Yeah, then it was mini bike racing.
Dan, what's your number one exhaust? What's your most popular exhaust?
Probably that R1 is probably the most popular exhaust. The Yamaha R1 from like 2004 to 2000, and I think they stopped in 14.
Okay. Oh, they don't make that bike anymore?
They don't make the bike anymore, but we still sell, hundreds of those pipes a year.
I bet. Yeah, I mean, because they still exist.
Some of the other stuff, we had a Yamaha R6 sport bike that we made this pipe called a double down, and China copied it, and it was over. We were selling 30 a day of those in the busy season. It was our cheapest exhaust. It was a slip-on, and China copied it, cut our price in a third, and they were falling apart. There was nothing we could do. We could get them thrown off of eBay, and they would show up 2 days later under another name.
Oh,
So
that stinks.
combating that is almost impossible, but
yeah,
it's even
So
worse.
imagine-
It's
as soon as
even
you
worse.
got to get it out.
Yeah. And we try to make, like, now our exhaust, instead of having a logo that's in the coating, like a stencil in the coating, now we're embossing them. So we bought the dies and a big press here. So we're able to do it. It's just that much more difficult to copy, and you can tell the authentic ones, it's more expensive, but it's just a cool way of doing it. No one else is doing it that way. I think probably, what's that?
And say, would they copy your exhaust even with your logo on it?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
With your
Wow.
they even put your logo?
They would advertise it as a Toce exhaust. Yep.
That's
Toce
cool.
R6 double down. Yep. And then we had them thrown off of eBay, and they would blur out the logo and say R6 slip-on exhaust. And then further in the description, it would say Toce.
Wow,
And-
that's crazy. And I suppose there's nothing you can really do because is it worth fighting?
Yeah, it's not. And then we would get exhaust back here that the tabs were broken off or some part of it was damaged, and they'd be like, the workmanship is horrible and all this, and we're opening them up, and they're not even ours.
Oh,
And-
What does the customer say?
Yeah, I mean, no, I bought it and it said Toce in the description and all that, and we would give them a discount to buy the authentic one. We're not going to fix that junk one that they bought. It's really not my problem. But the fact that they were buying into our brand, we tried to help them out and give them a solution,
Yeah.
and get the authentic product.
that's pretty good. If I go and buy a Louis Vuitton on Canal Street and go try to return it to the store, they're probably not going to give me a discount.
No, they're not. And they're a much slightly bigger company than me.
Yeah.
Well, that's just like the dog collars we just got.
Yeah.
The Sorrento. I don't know if you guys are dog guys, but
Is it just us now?
Yeah, I think it's just us. Did we just get our own show? We lost you guys. What's it say on the thing?
You're in the show.
All right,
We're in the
sorry.
show.
Sorry.
All right.
we use
You like
Sorrento
Tindered us,
dog-
swipe left or something.
I did. That's what I did by accident. I'm going to put this down.
You know what a Sorrento dog collar is?
No.
It's a tick and flea collar that they sell. It's good for 6 months, and they're great. They really do. I mean, my dog, I live in the woods, and, my dog would get ticks on him every day.
She's like a shepherd, so she's got that thick fur. You can't see them.
Yeah. And then we found out that they're bootleg. And the one we've been using was a bootleg. And it came in a tin container, and everything was crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
like how they found out she was getting ticked.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It comes with the ticks on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess China copying your exhaust is almost a little bit of compliment because they're
Yeah.
obviously looking at what's selling, what's popular.
Yeah. I mean, you do look at it that way, but then you say, this is business. Like, it's when they start trying to copy the other models, it gets really it's disturbing. They were doing Vance and Hines, and they were doing some of the other guys. The same guy, I think he was out of Indonesia.
That's
And
crazy.
Really?
Yeah, and my guys here, they're like, yeah, we're getting a plane to Indonesia. We're gonna go straighten this out, old school. I'm like, all right, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, I'm surprised that I guess they'll copy anything. They're just
Yeah.
looking for something, but that's things, especially when somebody's sending it back to you saying that your product's bogus when they didn't even buy it from you.
Right. And the other thing is our exhausts have baffles and stuff to make them sound good. I mean, that's part of the tuning with our exhaust, and these guys had no baffles in it and they sounded horrible. And so people are rating exhausts on on the internet and in forums and saying, oh, the Toce one sounds like crap, it's raspy, it's this, it's that, and it's not even our exhaust. So you're getting a bad rap over something you didn't even build.
That's
So
yeah.
What's the next event for you guys?
March.
The High Seas Rally, right?
I wish we could go. There's so much. There's so much. I know you guys are going, right? Both of you guys are going. Yeah, and that's what, next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got to be on the boat next year.
Yeah, I mean, we would probably, in the beginning when that thing first happened, there was so much COVID stuff going on and what the restrictions were going to be. We were like, yeah, we're not going to sign up. And now, like, I really wish we were going on it. But, on the other hand, we've done so many more events this year than we normally do that you can feel it in the business. And, like, products that should be launched aren't because of, that stuff, because we're just absent. Yeah. And you guys know this, even though you're only going for a week, you're going for a week, it screws you up a week before or more, and then a week or two after. So it's really, you're screwed up for a month over a 1 week event.
Steve Broyle says that you guys are going, they're all staying with you in your cabin.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Dan, it's funny because we've been working with the promoter on that stuff, and they were looking for people in the industry, a certain number of people in the industry to come and display their wares. And the one thing that it's funny, I didn't think of it. The one thing that they're missing is an exhaust guy. He's asked me 3 different times, do you know anybody that makes exhaust? We need an exhaust guy. And, I had asked a few different people, but everybody's busy, couldn't get away.
Plus, it was kind of the same thing like with the COVID stuff, in which we thought that too, because I was like, I'm not getting the vaccine. So if it means going on that cruise, I'm not going. So it's kind of like we kind of waited, a little bit till it was confirmed that you didn't have to have the vaccine and stuff. But I think a lot of people thought the same thing, when we asked, they were like, no, just because they don't want to be forced to do something or didn't know what the restrictions were for other countries and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Initially, I think the boat was okay, but you couldn't get off the boat. Like you couldn't go to the restrictions in other countries. And it was like, well, what's the point kind of for us, Yeah.
But, so I guess the next event, Daytona.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So a week into March, we'll be starting to prep the race bikes and start our diets.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't need to diet Sons of Speed. You could.
45 horsepower. Every pound that you lose is like adding another half a horse.
Yeah.
True. Sometimes I think a little bit that's my advantage. Like, I'm not sure who the big guy is. I can't think of what his name is that rides a single. I know you got it.
There's Adam Kiefer. There's Dave Morrell.
Dave Morrell.
Yeah, Dave Morrell.
I think he's a big guy to be on a single. Like, that bike's struggling with somebody small. It does count when you're on something like that. That's for sure.
Yeah, but he's, and he's been in it since the beginning, and that guy's a big supporter of it, and I love that. I mean, he's pitted next to us, and I probably, hey, how you going? We don't talk a lot, and he actually came to the shop when you were there, Dave, last Saturday, and he comes around. He's a super nice guy. He's big about promoting it, and he's one of the guys that it's good to see him on the track.
Right, he does it to race. To say
Yeah. I don't win, but I want to win. So I'm usually following you around, Jody, until you break.
Yeah,
But the
which
last time
unfortunately is many times.
the last time you were really fast. I'm like, oh, Jody's in my heat. We dice it out normally, like a little bit here and there, and you ran away. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be a rough week here.
I was like, man, I had that race. Like, oh.
Yeah.
But I can only ride as good as my bike.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go kill somebody here.
All right.
They're cutting pipe, believe it or not, at Toce Performance.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll let you guys get back to work. But thank you for joining us today. Thanks for coming on Top of History. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in Daytona.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. And enjoy the cruise without us.
Yeah, we will. We'll send you some pictures.
And
All right,
Dan, the party that you did on Saturday in Daytona, great time. Well, we had a lot of laughs. I brought some of my friends that had never been there before, and I got to thank you. That's a great spot, and it's just a great venue for for people in our circle.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris and Heather put it on pretty much the first one, which was in March. Which I mean, the turnout was huge. It was great. It seems to be like this event in general was smaller, and it was just a kind of a word of mouth thing. We didn't really promote it on social media or anything, but I want that to be a good place for everybody to go. And we try to get food there. You guys showed up after all that was gone this time, but we're gonna keep doing it and tell everybody come down. It's a good time. It's great to see some of the crazy custom bikes and stuff just riding. These guys are riding them. It's not just show stuff. And everybody's doing burnouts and they leave, and good people. I got to meet a lot of your friends and you guys. It's a good time. And then I got a Jody sticker on my bus.
Yeah.
When I was waiting for the food truck, I was waiting for my food to come out of the food truck. I was like, I don't think this is one of my stickers.
So,
but I only stick stickers on people I like.
All right, that works. We only have big toe stickers, so you're not going to miss it when it's on yours.
Yeah, I'm a little more discreet.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, and have a good afternoon.
All right, you too. Thanks for having us.
Okay, talk to you soon.
All right, guys. So that was our show. Thank you guys all for your comments, and keep the comments coming. Share our posts, like them, so that we can keep this going. Chop History is sponsored by India Motorcycles and Law Tigers. We also want to give a shout out to Vintage Pro Paints. It's the new paint company that we've been working with a lot. Great product. If you guys are painters, if you have any questions about the product, give VP a call. Don't forget to follow us on social media. It's Perowitz_CycleFab. Let me put that up. Is the business one, and then mine's Jody Perowitz, and DP's is D Perowitz. Hold on, I can't find the there it is. So here's the Perowitz Instagram. So Perowitz_CycleFab. If you're on Instagram, go give us a follow. Next week we'll be back with somebody from the cruise, because on Friday we leave to head down to Florida to get on a boat for a week.
And this Sunday, we'll be at Stafford Springs motorcycle swap meet, and I'll be set up there. I've got a 92 FL that I'm bringing along to sell, just a basic, clean, older stock bike. Somebody's looking for something like in the $6,000 range. It's it's all there. Decent bike. I just put tires on it. I'll have that at Stafford along with a lot of other stuff.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for today. Once again, Chop of History is brought to you by India Motorcycles and Law Tigers, and we will catch you next week. See ya.
Okay.